All right, let's dive into what is, hands down, one of the most dramatic chapters in the book of Exodus. Chapter 15 isn't just a list of events, it's like a whole short story packed into one chapter. We go from the absolute highest of highs to the lowest of lows, from a massive victory party to a desperate test for survival out in the desert. So let's break down how this one chapter kind of sets the stage for everything that's about to happen. And it all kicks off with this line. Can you even imagine? This is the hook, the chorus that everyone's shouting. You're standing on the shore, the world's greatest superpower, the entire Egyptian army, has just been completely wiped out right in front of you. This is the song you sing. This is what pure, impossible victory sounds like. So let's picture this scene. The waters of the Red Sea have just crashed down on Pharaoh's army. What do? Well, Moses and the Israelites, they just burst into this incredible epic poem, the Song of the Sea. And his sister Miriam, she grabs a timbrel and leads all the women in dancing. This is a moment of just pure, unfiltered joy and absolute relief. But here's what's so brilliant about this song. It doesn't just say, "Yay, we won." It actually builds up the tension by quoting what the enemy was thinking just moments before. You can just feel the arrogance, the total confidence of the Egyptian army. They thought their victory was a done deal. I will pursue, I will overtake. They had zero doubt about how this was going to end. And then, bam, the song just drops the hammer. All that arrogance, all that military might, just gone, in an instant. And the imagery here is so incredibly powerful. They didn't just drown, they sank like lead, like a stone, a swift, total, and no coming back from that kind of defeat. It's a perfect illustration of the power they're celebrating. So you see, this song is doing so much more than just recapping a battle. It's really laying down a theological foundation for them. It celebrates God as their strength, as a savior. It recognizes his power over the natural world. And, get this, it even looks ahead to the future, to a holy habitation that he's going to prepare for them. It's looking back and looking forward, all at the same time. Okay, but right when you're at this absolute emotional peak, the story just slams on the brakes. The singing stops, the dancing is over, and the harsh reality of their new freedom kicks in. Because after the celebration comes the journey, and that journey starts in a really unforgiving desert. This timeline really puts it all into perspective. On day 0, they are celebrating the greatest miracle they have ever seen. But just 3 days later, after marching through the barren wilderness of Shur, all that euphoria is gone. It's been replaced by a primal, desperate need, thirst. And then they find water. But it's like some kind of cruel joke. They get to this place that they end up naming Marah, which literally means bitter. The one thing they need to survive is right there in front of them, but it's undrinkable, it's poisonous. You can just feel that crushing disappointment and the panic starting to rise. And this is the pivot point. The very same people who were just singing praises are now complaining directly to Moses. Their faith, which seemed so strong just 72 hours ago, is already starting to crack under pressure. What shall we drink? It's a simple question, but it's loaded with fear, with accusation, and with doubt. This is their very first big test as a free people. And the narrative is very, very clear about this moment. This wasn't just some random patch of bad luck or a geographical oopsie. The text says, right there, that at this place, God tested them. This is the first of many of these kinds of tests, a recurring theme that's designed to build a relationship and teach them something fundamental about who they are and who they're following. So how does this test get solved? Well, the solution is actually beautifully simple. The people complain to Moses. Moses, in turn, cries out to God. God points out a piece of wood, a tree. Moses throws it into the water, and the bitter water becomes sweet, drinkable. The problem is solved through this direct chain of communication and obedience. But again, this was never really just about the water. The miracle was just the prelude to the real lesson. The text says that right there. He made a statute and an ordinance for them. This moment at Marah becomes the place where a new kind of relationship, a new set of rules for how to live gets established. And this is that rule. It's a conditional promise, an if-then statement. If you listen carefully to me and do what's right, then I will protect you. I won't put any of the diseases on you that I brought on the Egyptians. And then it ends with this powerful new name for God. I am the Lord who heals you. They just watched him heal bitter water. Now he's promising to be their healer too. So the chapter doesn't just leave them there, in that moment of bitterness and testing. It moves on to the reward. It concludes this intense little story arc on a note of incredible hope and provision. After having gone through that hard lesson at Marah, their very next stop is the complete opposite. They move from a place of bitterness and not having enough to a place of just lush abundance and rest. I mean, just look at this contrast. They went from having no drinkable water to finding 12 wells of fresh water. And that number isn't random. It's one well for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's a symbol of perfect, complete provision for the entire nation. And it's not just water, it's 70 palm trees. This paints a picture of a true oasis, a place with shade and sustenance and safety. After the harshness of the test at Marah, they're brought to a place of peace called Elim. The message is pretty clear. If you pass the test, there's rest and provision waiting on the other side. So when you step back, Exodus 15 gives us the entire blueprint in miniature. It takes a miraculous victory to create a people, yeah? But it takes a test of faith out in the wilderness to begin forging them into a nation. This chapter shows us that the journey ahead won't just be about grand miracles, but about that daily, sometimes grinding choice to trust and obey, even when the water is bitter.